Hi everybody, welcome to the Geekkast podcast. My name is Greg St. Clair.
Dan Whitehead.
Patrick Howard.
And here with us today, we are very fortunate to have Jason Michael Berman, the producer of the movie called The Benefactor. Hi Jason.
Hi, thanks for having me on the podcast.
Thank you
for coming aboard.
Thank you for coming, I appreciate it. Jason's movie, The Benefactor, originally called Franny. That's what it says in IMDb, right?
Originally called Franny.
Originally called Franny.
Now called The Benefactor.
Called The Benefactor. We were fortunate enough here at Stevenson to have a pre-screening here. We saw it yesterday, which I guess is October 29th.
Right. Because today's the 30th.
It's 30th, and there was a
Prior to its January release.
prior to its
Right.
January release, and there was a Q&A afterwards, and very good movie.
Thank you.
We all,
Yeah.
Ben and I both really enjoyed
We
it.
liked
Patrick
it a
was there,
lot.
unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just
he had work to
mounds
do.
of schoolwork, but yeah, I've heard nothing.
Part of
but
the
Yeah.
pretty positive
college
things
life.
Cool.
Yeah.
from everyone going on.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure what to expect going into it. I knew, because I hadn't really seen Richard Gere movies before, and I know, Pretty Woman. That's what I, of course, thought of right away. So I'm like, is it going to be like this? Like that kind of thing. But when I saw it, I was like, wow, I was really, attached to the film. I really enjoyed it. I liked the look of it mostly. I didn't realize it was shot on film. I thought that was really cool that people are still doing that and stuff, so I really liked it for that.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of House of Cards in the look of it a little bit. I don't know if they were going for that, but...
Yeah, I mean, Andrew has a very unique style in the way that he tells stories visually.
Right.
And usually, it feels large.
Mhm.
And I think he did a good job.
Yeah,
Really
very
good job
cinematic
with that.
Yeah.
He's a very cinematic director.
Mhm.
And Andrew is the...
Andrew Renzi is the writer-director.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, where did he, if you know, did he get this idea for the story? Is it something he experienced? Is it something?
Yeah, I think it's there were, just parts of the story that were personal to him.
Right.
And he took some of those elements and I think, created a story around it, something that he thought would be very compelling, which was, a coming of age story for somebody in their 60s. But also, the unique element of how people try to recreate the past. And also exploring elements of addiction, and so I think there was a lot of themes that he wanted to explore. Some of which, that he knows people that deal with, that have dealt with, and others that he just wanted to explore creatively as a filmmaker. And I think it was a blending of all of those.
Yeah, it came together really, really nicely. I thought, especially once you see the addiction scene happening and him trying to get back into the life of poodles.
Yeah.
And join Lukey. I think how that all came to be and just the breakdown of each scene, I think that it went across really, really well and definitely hit home. Especially the most memorable scene I thought was when his addiction or his prescription ran out and he couldn't get the morphine again, so he had to. He wanted to cut his finger to get the medication. To me, that was so emotional. My jaw was dropped that entire sequence of events.
And it was interesting that, obviously, spoilers, I guess, a little bit. We always have to warn people. When there's that scene where he's dumping the medicine out, and then, of course, later on you find out, he's telling Luke, I dropped it by accident, I spilled it by accident, but then we remember, wait a minute, we saw him physically, sit there and dump it out.
Yeah.
Just to try and get something from Luke to see, then, of course, he had to, turn and, oh, no, I was just kidding,
Yeah.
So, I thought that was an interesting twist on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew did some. Andrew did some interesting story devices throughout the course of the movie that I think really worked well.
Yeah.
And that Richard really brought to life.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen too many movies with him, but it almost made me interested to see more with him now.
Yeah,
because
he's
I'm realizing,
Richard's a great actor.
Yeah.
And this was a role that allowed him to, I think, go to a place that he had not gone before. He's a movie star. He's
Right.
been in a lot of big movies, and I think in this part of his career, he's doing these movies that are these real interesting character studies. He did our film, and then he did a film right after it called Time Out of Mind, which is where he's playing a homeless man, and that was released this fall. It's a very I think voyeuristic take on homelessness that he shot in New York City, and so he's looking for interesting roles to really, I think, stretch his range as a performer, and he played two very different roles back to back in our film and then in Time Out of Mind. And he's a really talented, very, very talented actor, and he definitely joined Andrew in his first feature film directing effort, and I think that says a lot about him as well. He really believed, and about Andrew, he really believed in Andrew as a filmmaker to deliver a really great film.
That is interesting that was his first feature film. He was getting stars at
Yeah.
that kind of level.
Yeah.
It's really pretty cool that they all came together and believed in his story.
Yeah, Andrew had two short films at Sundance, the Sundance Film Festival, and then he got into the Sundance Screenwriters Lab with Franny, and so he had really been able to workshop the script a lot with a lot of great advisors, and in addition, he had two really great short films. So I think the combination of the Sundance backing as well as the short films, and then the story, and then the uniqueness of the character. And then just Andrew's, passion, energy, and charisma. I think Richard really got attracted to all of those elements, and that's what made him ultimately decide to join the film as the lead character.
Right.
And it also stars Dakota Fanning and Theo James. Was it the same kind of connection of just through meeting different people? I think I remember you saying in the Q&A that it was kind of Richard that drew them to the
Yeah, I
movie.
mean, Richard was definitely the catalyst for everything. I mean, once he got attached, we had agents left and right calling Andrew, and myself and my producing partners pitching their clients, and Theo and Dakota were two clients that were pitched of the same agency that Richard is repped at. But then we were dealing with all the other talent agencies and pitching their clients. And Andrew met with a lot of people. He met with a lot of people for both roles, and he decided ultimately on Theo and Dakota, and I think they did a great job as well. They're both really nice human beings, and both very passionate about their craft, and it's been a pleasure to work with them, and I hope that I get the opportunity to work with both of them in the future.
Yeah, they did a really good job of kind of not relating, but understanding or trying to understand what Franny was going through in the movie. And even I like the scenes where he was trying to pay for everything for Luke, and have Luke come off as dude, what are you doing? You don't have to do this.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that sequence of things because I think that played really well to the whole I'm very popular, I have a lot of money, don't worry, let me take care of you, I want to be your friend role that you guys wanted to show us, and also he wanted to show us as a role. But then when I got to the addiction side, you saw that whole different thing. You saw the entire personality of the movie, I thought, change into that direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think the cool thing about the movie is that Franny character is just trying to deal with so many interpersonal difficulties within his life and things that have affected him, and just the way that he does that, vis-a-vis the addiction, to try to free himself from the pain, but then also trying to rebuild the relationship with the two people that he lost through their daughter and her new husband. I think it's a really interesting way to tell a story.
Which is another way, I guess, of him trying to get rid of the pain, is by making it up to the daughter and the new husband and the future baby.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I also thought it was interesting because looking at just that little poster that we had out in the lobby and stuff, I thought it was going to play more of a father-daughter relationship, but it ends up playing more like a father-son relationship.
Exactly.
Dakota's actually has a smaller role than I thought she would.
Yeah, it's that because obviously the relationship of Bobby of Bobby in the movie. I mean, I think that was that companionship that he really was loved. I mean, that was his best friend, and he's trying to recreate that companionship with her, with her new husband, and at the same time also be able to just be a part of her life, because obviously he's very regretful about the fact that he was responsible for the accident that killed her parents.
And it almost seemed like there was hints of almost like a old flame between Maya was the mother and Franny. There was these nods,
especially during the Scotch scene.
Right.
We're talking about we came out here and
I think and I think that's something that I think is thrown out there. It's obviously not answered, but it's
just something to think
thrown out
about.
there. But I think that there's other things kind of thrown out there too about is Richard's affection for Luke too. I think there's a lot of that sexuality things that are
These
sexuality
innuendos.
elements that that are thrown out in the movie, but just kind of kept in the gray area.
Well, this character's very free-spirited. I mean,
Right.
one of the first things you see him do is light up a joint in the car
Yeah.
before
Right.
the accident happens. So you can tell already he's very free-spirited. After the accident, and you see him in his hotel room, I was telling Dan this, like, kind of looks like Jeff Bridges, and it was interesting that you said
Right.
that they were thinking about asking Jeff Bridges to be the role of Franny. 'Cause
Yeah,
I thought it was
I mean,
really cool
it's
too.
you know, actors like Jeff Bridges and Alec Baldwin, they were all ideas that that were on that list.
Right.
So yeah, it's
Yeah, he looked very the dude.
and
Like
these domineering
Yeah.
personalities
Yeah.
that you want to kind of see go a little bit to the edge.
yeah, exactly.
And Richard's obviously one of those people too, and yeah, so it was cool.
That's really
I
cool.
think it's one of those roles that, like, now seeing the movie, I couldn't see anybody else do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
watching it, I'm like, I'm sure Jeff Bridges would have done good, or Alec Baldwin would have done well, all that kind of stuff, but I fixed it for you. I know you're going to correct me. But I was like, wow, with Richard Gere, I was like, yeah, this fits perfectly.
Yeah.
This works.
I think so too.
Were there like any like kind of like challenges during filming that you guys faced that were kind of daunting at first?
No, really, the production actually, went very, very smoothly. I mean, this was actually, to date, still one of the most pleasurable and easy production experiences. Renzi knew exactly what he was doing each day, as did his actors. It was a union film, and we had the best crew that there could have been in Philadelphia. Crew that generally work on M. Night Shyamalan movies and have really been indoctrinated into his precision of directing. And so we had a lot of those people on our movie, which was phenomenal. And so it was a very well-oiled machine. Making the movie was just, there were no hiccups at all.
And often we learned that kind of like the director and the actor worked to build the character. Were you involved like in the creating the character in any way, or
No,
notes?
I was totally, I was there to support, Renzi. I think where I probably gave most feedback was in the post-process. But in regards to, the development and into production, I really was there backing him because I was just so sold on the story that he was telling and on him as a filmmaker, and obviously put together incredible actors, that I was really there to just kind of facilitate making the movie happen, and then got more creatively involved in post-production.
Now, stepping away from this movie, what kind of got you interested in producing altogether? Like, as far as instead of maybe more writing or directing, what got you into producing?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up here in Baltimore, in Maryland, right down the street from Stevenson University, and I helped start the film and TV programs at both the Genesee School and then the Friends School, which is where I went to high school, and then kind of knew that I wanted to go into film school, but wasn't really sure specifically what within film I would be doing, whether it would be directing or producing, or writing or shooting or editing. And I think I learned very quickly when I got into film school at USC within that first year that my skill set compared to all of my other classmates and where I really excelled wasn't producing, wasn't organizing, putting things together, pushing a boulder up a hill each day, which is what it takes to be an independent film producer. And so that kind of set me off on my journey as a producer, and I produced about 6 graduate thesis films, undergrad and grad thesis films while I was at USC. And then I wanted to go, when I graduated, I wanted to go learn the business side of the industry. So I went and I worked at the William Morris Agency. I then went and worked at MGM Studios, and then I went and worked for writer-director Gary Ross at Universal Studios. And so I got to see all different sides of the business, which really are, the buyer side, the seller side, and then the creative side, and then how they all interact with each other. And so I took what I had learned from my bosses, and then my experience in physical production from the short films that I had produced in school, and that's what kind of set me off on my path of being able to be a professional producer. And I left my assistant job, my last one, to go produce my friend's first feature film, whose thesis I had produced at USC, a guy by the name of Ryan Piers Williams. And his short film was called Muertas, and his feature film was called The Dry Land. And I went and I produced that in 2009 with him. He invited me to be a part of it, and that movie we made for a little bit under $1 million. It was, and then it premiered at Sundance in 2010 in competition, and
Great.
it was amazing. And the movie came out phenomenal, and it was that kind of set my career off as a feature film producer. And so I've been producing for the last 6 years, since 2009, and about to go into my 7th year. And and I've produced, I think, about 20 movies over the course of the last 6 years, and I now work at a company called Mandalay Pictures, basically doing what I've always been doing, but just now with some infrastructure behind me and some great colleagues. Yeah, that's about it. So this movie's coming out. It's been a wild ride. This movie's obviously coming out in January. There's a really great movie that I produced called Mediterranean, which premiered at Cannes Film Festival, and is going to be released before the Benefactor. So in November
Who stars in that?
2018. It's a movie that actually is it's all non-actors.
Oh, unknowns, okay.
Well, non-professional actors. So there's
Oh, okay.
no real, the actors are, there's a guy by the name of Kudus, who the filmmaker Jonas Carpignano had been working with for a long time in Italy. And the movie was shot all in Italy and Morocco. And so it's a movie about northern African immigration into southern Italy and crossing the Mediterranean, which is a real major immigration issue right now in Europe. And goes along with a lot of other things that are happening in Europe in regards to immigration from one country to another because of just the living environments. And so the movie explores that, and it's phenomenal. And IFC is releasing it, and then we're in post on a movie called Toward the Unknown with a really great actor by the name of Mark Strong, and then also in post-production on a movie called The Birth of a Nation.
I saw that on IMDb.
Which is this really phenomenal actor, writer, director, producer, this guy Nate Parker, who's just a force of nature. And that movie is about the Nat Turner Slave Rebellion, which is one of the most well-known African-American slave rebellions against the white slave owners pre-Civil War. And so that movie we're in post on as well. That film stars Nate, Armie Hammer, Jackie Earle Haley, Penelope Ann Miller, and Coleman Domingo, and Gabrielle Union, and just a bunch of incredible actors. And so that will come out next year as well. And then in pre-production right now on 3 movies that are going to start shooting in January and February of next year. So it's been busy. And
Yeah, that sounds of it.
we're currently in the process of waiting to hear back from Sundance on 2 of the films that are in post and see if they'll premiere at Sundance in January 2016. So January 2016 will be busy between the release of The Benefactor, hopefully movies at Sundance, and then of course being in production on 2 or 3 films. So it's busy, but it's producing is great. The film business is great. It takes a lot of hard work and perseverance and a lot of passion, and it's really got to be the only thing you want to do because there's a lot of other easier things beyond this to make a living in. And but if you love it and it's what you're passionate about, and you can survive the drive spells and keep yourself busy, it's a really great and rewarding career.
Cool.
Do you want to continue doing Sundance things and more independent stuff? Do you ever want to move more like the Hollywood?
Yeah,
big league, not big league, but you know what I mean.
Commercial.
Commercial.
Yeah, no, I'm in the process of doing that. I mean, I will always produce independent films. I'll always work with young filmmakers and first-time feature directors because I love that. But yeah, in regards to starting to produce bigger budget films, that is what I'm working on developing those projects right now, and that will definitely become a part of my resume of films over the next couple of years. It's definitely going to go more towards the studio route, but will always stay true to my roots, which are soiled deeply in independent films.
It's respectable.
Oh, yeah.
That's very respectable.
That's respectable.
Especially as film students, we respect that.
Oh, yeah. Of course. I'm education and learning and everything that these nonprofit organizations do, like Sundance and Film Independent and IFP and San Francisco Film Society, and the way that they really provide programs for developments for young filmmakers is just incredible, and that I'm a product of that, and so I'll always support that and be a part of that, and also produce independent films.
Great. I think that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Jason.
having
Taking
me.
our time.
Come on.
His movie will be out sometime in January, and that's when this will be played. And until then, party on.
Party on.
Party on.